now we are joined today with the Sutherlands, and they are going to share at this time some things for you guys to take home for nuggets. Okay?
Well, I really believe that the first step to appreciating love anew is ownership of what you may have done wrong before in your previous relationship. A lot of times we take baggage, we take stuff, and more often than not, we blame the other person. But there's always two sides to the story, and it takes two people to be in a relationship. So for me, I recognize the fault that I took on the fault, honestly. And we both had some issues that, we just weren't ready, whatever the case may be. But I owned up to what I did. And then I said, okay, I know what not to do next time. I know what not to allow next time. I know what not to harbor on next time. And I took that and I coupled that with, if I may, the 5 love languages. And that's my thing. And I really appreciate the movement, the book, whatever you want to call it, because it helps me to love her the way that I need to. Because a lot of times people say, yeah, they take the test and they say, yeah, my top love language is physical touch. But they forget that all of them are important. It's just that one is the primary at the time. But I've challenged a couple of people as I have conversations like these, and I say to them, well, take the test and think about your relationship right now, and take the test again and think about a relationship you had a couple of years ago or your previous. And then they'll notice that where it may have been physical touch with the now person, it was acts of service before. So people don't realize that stuff changes around. So, you'll be one way this week, and next week you'll be a different way. So what I do, and what I'm very intentional about doing, is rotating them out. So I can't lose. So if I go to the grocery store, I'll bring her back her favorite little treat. If I go and do a little bit better shopping or something, or I just make sure I just say, hey, well, no, I'm not going to say what I say, but I rotate them out. And so whatever her love language is for that day, whatever she's missing in her quote, in her that cup, or that account, I make it possible. And it's so easy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so easy. Oh my God.
Very nice, very nice.
You should give me a kiss right now.
Oh, I love it. Tiffany, did you have anything that you wanted to share?
Try to talk that.
He did an excellent job, but you need to say something about him or something. That was good.
I think he pretty much touched on everything. I would just say, my advice is just to make sure that should you have those moments in your relationship, whether you're just dating or you're married, because I know that we are probably speaking to a different demographic. But should you have those moments where you kind of feel off the rails or what have you, it's like just be quick to reconcile whatever the issue might be. Don't necessarily just sit there and stew in it, and be like, well, I forgave you, but I don't forgive you, because ultimately, if someone has been offended, if one party has been offended by the other, it tends to be that person's duty to forgive the person that did something to them or hurt their feelings or what have you. And yeah, you can forgive, but it's like, make sure that you kind of reconcile that issue and don't just be like, well, I forgive you, but I'm not going to forget that you did, we don't necessarily ever forget things that hurt us, but just try to reconcile it as quickly as possible, so that it does not. Because like I said before, it's those little things. You know, you may think that you're done, but you're constantly like going back to it. So just kind of make sure that when you do forgive, that you kind of move on. Just move on from it, you know, and swiftly as possible.
Awesome.
But I think, you know, when we look in today's society, it's so easy to give up and quit and throw in the towel because nobody wants to stick around and fight through it. And, you know, I'm going to be honest with you. It's like, you know, man, this is more headache than this is worth sometimes.
Some days.
But the fact of the matter is that there was a reason that you were put together. You invested time with each other. That's not the time to throw in the towel. It's the time that you've got to press through and work through things. Now, we understand that there are certain circumstances that would push people to separate.
Right.
But what we see in society today, some of it is fairly petty and can be fixed. And just, you know, when tough times come, you know, such as financial loss of a child, people want to run and want to bail and not work through it. You know, and I think the advice that I can give anyone is seek counsel, seek people that you can trust, seek people that are mutual, you know, because you're always going to have that friend that's going to basically say, well, you should never be with that person in the first place. I told you so.
Right.
Find someone that basically can not only call you out on your stuff, but also call your spouse out on your stuff. And basically at the same time be able to say, you guys can work through that.
They have to love you both.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's important to surround yourself with people that can pour into you and your spouse, not just you, but your spouse as well, so that you can be successful and keep pushing forward.
Yeah. For me, I would say, and this is what I typically tell the women, because as women, we're emotional creatures. We function a lot out of emotion and out of heart, but the reality is that the heart is very fallible and it'll lead you astray. So I tend to say, get out of your emotions and stay in the spirit. We don't make any decision based off of what we feel in that moment, because it changes so rapidly. But if we view our marriage not as a relationship where someone is intended to protect our heart at all times, that's what we like to say, but instead we go, wait a minute, this is not just a commitment, but a covenant that was made before God. This isn't just about me and you. This is about a commitment and a promise that we made to our Father. And when you begin to look at it as, you know, this isn't my marriage, this is God's marriage that He's chosen to utilize us to compose. Therefore, it's not really up to me. You know, God gave us a couple of very cut and clear reasons and examples as to why a marriage would end. But being angry wasn't one of them.
Yeah, I can agree more. I got married when I was 23. I'm 26 now, or I was like 22, 23, 26 now, and I can agree more. Like, I like sit down and have conversations with like my friends that are in relationships and things like that. Even friends that, you know, got married and then like after a year, they're like, oh, we're not together anymore. And it's like the things that, like, you know, they say, oh, we decided to leave because of this, and it's just like, oh my goodness. Like, that was totally something that you guys could work out, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm not one to judge or anything like that, but I would agree like 100% with what you guys say. I think especially in today's society with, you know, as far as like relationships and stuff, I would agree like 100%. Yeah. So I think, you know, just working things out and communication, I feel like it's something that my generation lacks when it comes to relationships. Like, we're like so horrible at communicating. And that's such a big factor, you know, when you're talking about being in a relationship, especially married to someone. You know, you got to have good communication. Yeah. So, yeah, I totally agree.
Feel like we're blessed. Go ahead, Brian.
What I want to look at is something I've been studying, and it was looking at the life of Solomon. Solomon was the son of David, and he became king. And the Bible says that God came to Solomon and asked Solomon, what is it that you want? I give you anything that you want, but what is it that you want? He said, I want the wisdom to be able to lead God's people. He wanted wisdom versus everything else. And so we learned that throughout his life that he became one of the richest kings ever. And he's known for his riches, but he's known for his wisdom. So I just want to talk about the fact that we got so many people chasing so many other things. And the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you.
Yes.
I want to ask people, what is it today are you chasing? What is it that you are putting first before wisdom? Because wisdom will enable you to get everything else that it is that you need. And to the couples, it's a proverb that says, do not take the counsel of the ungodly. Who are you listening to? Who are you getting your advice from? If you're on the Lord's side, then you should be seeking the counsel of those who are on the Lord's side. Stop getting outside information from outside folk who don't have the wisdom or the godly wisdom or the heart for you to be able to give you the best advice that they can give you. So I would just say that, just get wisdom, be wise, and watch everything else come to you, and just watch who you're listening to, especially for the couples. If you're married, you shouldn't be getting advice from someone who's saying, I'm sorry, y'all, my eye irritated. You shouldn't be getting advice from those who are single. If you're doing a certain thing, if you're in the architecture, you need to be talking to other architects. You shouldn't be getting advice from a plumber, you know what I'm saying, or a freehand drawer, artist. Excuse me. So that's what I would like to share. Go after wisdom and everything else. It'll fall in line, and make sure you're listening to the right people, get the right counsel.
That's right. Wisdom, that's true. Because if you have the wisdom, that wisdom is going to allow you to make those wise decisions to help you get that money to go ahead and take care of your family. Yeah. Wisdom is going to go ahead and help you
know how to love your spouse.
Exactly. So I like that wisdom. It all boils down. Wisdom is the central focus.
Well, I think the word says it says understanding. And all that get understanding.
And all that understanding. And all they get. That's right.
I was trying to think of the scripture where it says seek wisdom. It's somewhere in Proverbs, but it says, seek wisdom. Seek it.
If you lack wisdom, ask. But all you gotta do is ask, and God will give you the wisdom.
Yeah, but I think the seeking part of that too is, I think the writer knew that's something that we have to stay in a state of seeking wisdom.
But you have to have a desire for it also.
That's
because
why
if you're seeking something,
there you go.
That's
what I'm talking about.
You have to have a desire for it.
Yeah.
So if you are seeking, that means you have a desire for it because you want it. You don't seek anything that you don't want.
Yeah. So I like that, Brian, because what you're telling people to do is be better, desire to be better. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Want more, desire to more, seek it.
Better.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, Paul, what about you? What you got for these singles, no matter what state they're in, whether it's divorcees, never been married? What kind of advice?
It's funny that you say that, because mine was for, the singles, because I started quote unquote book club. And the first book, I'm going to plug this book. The first book is Marriage is Not for Everyone by Kason Hamilton. So he's actually a man of God. But marriage is not for everyone. He's a pastor. So I was like, and so in my circle of friends that I pretty much talk to, usually I'm married, but everyone else is single, except for another one, she's married. But still, that journey is not our journey. So it's 2 married and the rest are single. So I'm like, okay, we're going to read this book. So what I say, the main thing is not getting into something, based off what you think it's going to look like, based off the image. Once there was also a play, we went to see.
Slow that down. I just want to interpret this for y'all. Okay. Don't be getting into anything based off of image.
Yes,
that's a powerful statement, girl. I don't think, because what day and time are we in? We are in an image-based society driven by a social media madness. So,
Yeah.
whoo, I love it. Keep going.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
we need to break that. We need to break that down.
Yeah. And another thing, it was a play years ago, and the play was she married the ring and not the man. And so everyone is like at this point, because like you said, we're in our mid-30s. So at this day and time, not even the woman's, it's not just the woman's biological clock that's ticking right now. It's also the man, but they don't like to say that. So guess what? They're ready for marriage and, the kids and the 2 cars and the dog and all of these things. But everyone has to be secure, in who they are. The main thing is you don't go into a relationship either looking for someone, to complete you, necessarily, what we're going to do, we're going to come, we're going to bring this, we're going to have this together. So, and another thing is we're not going to start, keep asking a man or looking for a man to be something that we're not. That's another thing, what I'm getting from, some of those single women that, like I said, I know and I talk to. So once again, get your credit right, get your money right, get all of these things right, and at the end of the day, know how to be led. And that's one of the things goes back to, hey, Margie and his mom. With me and Brian early in marriage, number one, we were young when we got married, but he was looking for certain things from me. He was, okay, I got all these independent women, all of them, they're so strong. They're this, they're carrying this, they're doing this, they're doing that. And I'm looking at him like, look, if I have to be any more independent, then hey, I don't need you. I'm serious. So that was the thing. I'm like, look, I want to be led, so leave me, do this, take it on. And so that's the thing too, you don't have to be, you can be independent, you can do these things, but when the man come along, allow him to be the man,
Yes,
allow,
honey. Stop.
yeah,
Break that down. We breaking this down.
yeah,
Have some weaknesses. Have some weaknesses, honey.
yes,
You
mm-hmm.
can't be strong about everything because my daughter and I actually we have a show and we kind of, girl, the whole show went up into smoke in the first 2 minutes, Brian. We had to cancel the show because the first 2 minutes she said, I'm from the school where, what was the saying? Anything a man can do, a woman can do better. I said, well, oh no, I ain't from that school, honey. Honey, y'all gotta be watching when y'all saying stuff like that, because no, then what do I have him for? No, there are things that I can't do better than him. Period.
Right.
So, honey, that show was shut down. So that's what she's saying right now. Even though it was you still, as a woman, even with strength, you still have to be weak. But what she's saying is, look, I want somebody to care for me. I want to be a lady. I want to be, I hear you, girl. I feel it. Keep going.
That's
You just have to break it down.
That's it. So once again, that book is like, it's so spot on. And I think, for singles, let you know, hey, even for married people, this is what's going on. It's not always pretty, and when it's not pretty, you can't hurry up and go run for the hills, or either, you go and lay up in your bachelorette crib, because now that's gone. So before you get into it, make sure that that is what you want and you in it for the long haul. And that's pretty much it.
Wow. Okay. Very good. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for
Thank y'all.
for coming here and being here, sharing those nuggets.